Welcome to a new episode of We Are Around the World. Every day there's a new episode. Don't forget to support us by subscribing to the channel and, liking and admiring. Saber-toothed tigers, also known as smilodons, roamed North and South America for quite some time, along with woolly mammoths. According to fossil evidence, they lived on Earth since approximately 1.8 million years ago. But around 12,000 years ago, during the Quaternary extinction, the saber-toothed tiger went extinct, along with many other animals present during the Ice Age. But what if saber-toothed tigers had managed to survive the mass extinction that took place at the end of the Ice Age and had lived on until modern day? That's exactly what we are going to talk about right now on Life's Biggest Questions. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that imagines the impossible. I'm Charlotte Doe Brave. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let us know in the comments below a question you have always wanted to know the answer to. Saber-toothed tigers are an extinct species of large cats that lived during the Ice Age, or Pleistocene epoch. In fact, they were not actually tigers. They were an entirely different species of big cat. In their time, saber-toothed tigers were one of the largest carnivores living in North America. They were about 5 feet long and weighed 440 pounds. They had short limbs and had the build of a bear. Saber-toothed tigers snacked on large mammals like elephants, rhinos, and others. Perhaps the coolest thing about saber-toothed tigers are their teeth. But they definitely got the short end of the stick when it came to evolutionary advantages. Sure, their huge canines were up to 8 inches long, but that doesn't mean they were actually effective at killing prey. Sabers' huge teeth, as scary-looking as they were surprisingly brittle and, honestly, they broke really easily. Oftentimes, their canines were completely ripped off during combat. And to make matters worse, their jaws weren't all that powerful either. Even though they could open their mouths quite wide, to an angle of 90 degrees, their bites were not that effective. They were actually a lot less powerful than jaws in felines of the same size. Sabers' big canine teeth got in the way of biting down with much force. So, as cool-looking as those canines were, they actually were pretty pointless from an evolutionary standpoint. When a saber-toothed tiger was killing prey, it stabbed its victims with canines in the neck, stepped back and waited for the victim to bleed to death. It is fair to assume that if the saber-toothed tiger lived on and hadn't gone extinct, natural selection would have made it so that only saber-toothed tigers with smaller canines would have continued on. You don't necessarily need huge canines in order to kill prey, but if bigger canines were broken off easily, saber-toothed tigers wouldn't have been able to eat anything and would have died off. Saber-toothed tigers were competing with humans, and it was one of the reasons why they went extinct. Combine that with the changing climate at the end of the Ice Age, and it was extremely difficult for them to find food. Hey, if saber-toothed tigers hadn't gone extinct, that competition for food would still have been present. It's likely that they would have had to travel away from where humans had settled in order to find prey. They may have traveled farther north, following herds of large mammals to the Arctic or northern Canada. Either that, or they would have had to change their eating habits. Perhaps they would have resorted to eating humans instead of large mammals. Humans were still prevalent, large mammals were not. Saber-toothed tigers hunted in packs. It could have been possible for them to ambush a hunting party of humans. That being said, humans became the dominant predator. Humans would have used the fur of the saber-toothed tigers for clothing and perhaps eaten their meat. If they had not gone extinct, that doesn't mean they wouldn't have been rare and exotic. They would have been revered by royalty. We would have seen them featured in royal portraits of kings and queens in the modern era. Saber-toothed tigers would be protected by animal conservationists. But, truth be told, if the saber-toothed tiger hadn't gone extinct, not all that much would change. There are other species of large cats in North America, like cougars. Life may have been different for ancient aboriginals who lived in forests, the saber-toothed tiger's habitat. But it's likely that because humans were the ones who were responsible for their extinction, saber-toothed tigers would have tried to avoid humans completely, living out their existence in remote, colder areas of the globe. For now, I'm Charlotte Doe Brave, and you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out our playlist, Biggest What Ifs, clickable on the screen right now. Make sure notifications are turned on by clicking the bell. We'll see you in the next video.